All right, everybody, we're moving on to the paint portion of this shed build, and basically that's going to be part 4. We did the floor in part 1, the walls in part 2, the roof in part 3. Now we're moving on to part 4. We're going to be painting this LP Smartside, but before we get into that, I need you to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. We're trying to grow it to help people do their own DIY to save a little bit of money and be able to do your own projects, learn how to use your hands, learn how to use carpentry skills, and take pride in what you build. So like, subscribe, and share. We'd appreciate it. And even comment too, ask some questions. But we're going to be painting this LP Smartside in Valspar Storm Coat. That we like to use Valspar Storm Coat because Lowe's is down the street. It's pretty good paint. We like it, and it holds up pretty well. So we're going to show you. We don't use a sprayer because we don't have one. Never invested in one, and plus you got to clean them and keep it. There's just so much upkeep. To me, I'd rather use a roller, clean it, throw it away when I need a new one. So we use on the LP Smartside because it's got this groove in the siding, which is pretty deep, right? But it also has a texture to it. What we like to use are these Whizz applicators. These are roller covers that are 3/4 of an inch nap. Oh, does it come in? 3/4 inch nap. They're for stucco fences and decks, so they get into the grooves really well. And then we just use a pole and a pan on the ground with the paint in it, and we just roll it on like you would a wall. So we use LP Smartside for painting. We'll use LP lap siding, things like that, or we'll use board and batten out of pine, but we're not really going to paint that. That would be a stain. But for painting purposes, LP Smartside is great. And the LP Smartside is pre-primed. This is an OSB product. It's made with Gorilla Glue, a zinc borate, to keep bugs away from it, and it doesn't rot, and it holds up great. We love it. So anyway, so that's what we're going to use. We're going to get into the paint portion of this episode, and right now I'm going to take you over and you get to see James. James is over here painting the LP lap siding. What we use this for is for our trim. It also comes pre-primed, made of the same stuff LP Smartside is. And what we're doing now is we're just painting this the trim color. Right now he's got it all clamped so he can get the edges. He's painting the edges first. He's using a 3/8 nap roller because the grooves aren't that deep on this texture, so he's using that. And then what he'll do is he'll lay all these out individually on these boards, and then he'll use a roller with a pole, and he'll roll the paint onto them, and we'll let them dry. And then from there we'll go and do the we'll rip them down to the sizes we need. So for our corners and around our window trim and door, we use 3.5 inch. That's a standard measurement for us for our rips. But your soffits, your rakes, your fascia, and your gable, all that stuff, depending on what you use and your angles, is really going to dictate the thickness of your trim for when you rip it down a table saw. But we're going to have a video on what it looks like to rip the trim down. We're not going to put that on this shed build because that's just a separate video. And so yeah, so you'll see all that on another video, and I'll put a link to that video. I'll put a link to that video down in the bottom of the description for how we rip our trim down a table saw and make the trim out of LP Smartside for our sheds. All right, we're going to move on to paint. All right, so James has the trim boards laid out. After he was done painting the edges, he immediately got them laid out because the edges are going to have some paint pooling on them from how he was painting it, which is fine. But now he's able to spread it around with the roller, and he's just going to roll all of these out to get all this paint dried up so that we will be ready to cut the trim into size. Good job, James. All right, so I want to get this ready for paint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come around and find any of these nails maybe that didn't set all the way, right? And I'm going to get a nail set, and I'm going to drive them in, and I'm also going to look for any nails on the corners or just whatever that's not set all the way. I'm going to set them before I paint. And then I'm also, we use a Metabo 21-degree nails, and they have like a plastic collated to hold the nails together instead of paper. So that's another thing I like to do, is just go around and find like the big chunks of plastic that got left in the nails and just get rid of it. Just kind of flick it off with my finger. That way it's not on there when it dries and it doesn't get into my paint. So that's what I like to do. Like this right here, for instance. See how that plastic, and I'm just gonna flick it off with my finger. So that way it doesn't wind up with my paint. I'm gonna go around and make sure I get all of that taken care of. So I'm gonna use this as a nail punch because my nail punch was taken. So I'm basically going to put that on here, hit it with my hammer, and drive that nail in. And drive that nail in too. Anywhere where I'm gonna have trim covering it, like on the corners, and if I have a nail, I'm just gonna hit it with the hammer because I'm not gonna tear anything up. But these ones out here in the middle, obviously, I wanna set them with a nail set and a hammer. So basically you stick your nail set, in this case it's a Torx bit, onto the nail head, and you're gonna strike that with the hammer until you get it to set in. All right, so basically here's my setup. Got my roller, got my 3/4 inch Stucco Deck and Fence gnat from Whizz. I got my pan down here with paint in it. And we use the HP handy paint tray and liners, which is nice. And basically get your roller wet. And start rolling it away. I don't really know if you need a video on how to paint, but this is basically how you do it. You roll it on there. But the reason why we like the thick gnat is because it gets into that groove. You see that groove right there? That gnat gets into that groove really good. If you really want to make sure that you do that, you get it in there, because better than going back with a paintbrush, which is something you can do. If you can't get the gnat to get in there all the way, you can go back and hit it with a paintbrush. Plus, we use color match caulk. I have a mixer that we use, Alex Plus Clear caulk. We get it from Lowe's. We have an applicator that we use to mix the paint. We do a couple squirts of the paint into the caulk. You basically take the back of the caulk tube off, squirt your caulk in there, and you mix it. I'll have a video of it, but we'll also put it in the link down at the bottom where you can also get your own paint mixer, because color matching the caulk is a game changer. All right. So here are the items we're going to need for this. Okay, so right here we have a Red Devil. It's a caulk paint mixer. We bought this on Amazon. I'll get a link down in the bottom of the video so you can see that. Comes with this syringe here. Okay, we get this Alex Plus Clear all-purpose acrylic latex caulk plus silicone from Lowe's, and then paint. So this is the paint we have that we're going to use that's on the trim of our shed, a pocket knife, and some paper towels to help keep it clean. So basically you're going to take your pocket knife, so you can see the bottom of the caulk here tube. It's got this like plug here. You're just going to take your pocket knife and you're going to stick your pocket knife or a screwdriver, something flat metal, right there. I don't know if you can see that, in between that and that plug and the caulk tube. And then you're going to use your hand to kind of squeeze this a little bit to kind of massage it out of there. You want to get that plug out. Okay, it can turn on you a little bit. Just, you know, see how you just grab it, pull it up and out. Okay, and just kind of stick that off to the side. All right, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my syringe in this paint here, and I'm going to pull it to 10. Basically, I'm going to put 2 of these syringes full of paint. Pull that off a little bit. And I'm going to inject it into my caulk tube. You're just going to, careful, you don't want this to squirt all over you. So you're just going to squeeze it in there slowly. I don't know if you can, yep, see that as the paint's going in. Okay, I'm going to put that back down. Don't want that to drain out. I'm going to do another full one. Oh, didn't get enough. I'm going to squirt that in there. All right. Now, I'm going to take this plunger I'm going to stick that in there. I'm going to pull all the pieces down. Everything, you want to have everything down at the bottom. Probably should have make sure you preset that down first. So this is all going to go in here. It's like so. And then this cap, it's going to come down. Make sure you line it up. And that's going to come down there. You want that to be on there. And this is going to screw down. Okay. Make sure you push that down. This is going to screw down nice and tight. Okay. Make sure it's tight. Now, you want to make sure this is down all the way too. And then basically what you're going to do is you're going to start pushing this in and out. But make sure you hold right here, because this is going to want to have a tendency to start pulling up. They do sell a metal one of these. It's a little bit more expensive. This one's about 40 bucks. They have one that's like 100. So I might try that one next. But also at the bottom of that plunger, there's a screw. Just make sure you keep that tight. We had that come off on us before while we were doing this, and that's a mess. So you're just going to kind of work it in and out. Okay, and then make sure you hold on to this. You know, you want to kind of keep your hand on both of them, and you're going to pull this back up, and you go back down with it again. And it's kind of firm at first, but as you keep working it, it'll loosen up. And basically you're just trying to mix that paint in and out, trying to just work all that paint in and out of that. Now I know that clear caulk look white. That's because it is, but it dries clear. That's why we use clear, because if you use white, obviously it's going to change the color of your paint. So use clear, that way when your paint's in there, that's all you're going to see through is just that paint. But when you go to put it on and you start applying it, it's going to appear brighter and lighter than the color. But once that clear caulk once that caulk starts to dry, the paint comes through, the actual paint color, and it'll look just like it. So this is getting easier and easier to pump it up and down. I'm still holding on to this. Every once in a while you want to make sure that's pushed back down, and you just keep on working this. I mean, you can't mix this too much. The issue is you can actually mix it not enough. It's really loose now, so that tells me that it should be mixed up pretty good, because that paint going in there actually kind of liquefies the caulk a little more and makes it more liquid, makes it a lot looser. So I feel like the more and more I do this, the looser it gets, is because it's mixed up and all that liquid, all that paint is throughout the caulk. Now, that should be it as far as that goes. We should be mixed up. Before you start applying it, obviously you're going to squirt a little bit out, because there could be a little bit up in here, because some paint caulk doesn't come, it already comes pre-pierced, so you could be working it up into the nozzle. So you definitely want to give you a couple squirts before you start actually applying the paint color to your product. So make sure when you go to pull this out, obviously you bring the plunger all the way up to the top. See, I'm starting to get some of the paint on the shaft here, so that's telling me it's mixed pretty good. So make sure this is all the way up. We're going to pull this off, unscrew this, pull that up, and we're going to start working this out. Let's do that there. Can you see it's all mixed up in there? All right, get you some paper towels. Kind of clean this up right here on this outer edge. All right. And then you're going to just grab your plug, and you're going to stick that in there and just push it in. It just pushed air out, and that's it. That's how you make color match caulk. Might be a good idea for you to take a little dab of paint, stick it on there, so you kind of know what color it is, because we have a couple colors on this shed, and so we don't want to get them mixed up on which one's which. So just put a little smear of the color that the caulk is, and that'll help you keep it organized. So I hope that helped. And that's how we mix color match caulk. And again, I'll put the item number that I got from Amazon for this down in the bottom detail, and hopefully this helps you out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.